Ask Reddit. You're at a job interview. You get the "what is your biggest weakness" question. What is your answer? Confidence. Need to stop second guessing myself and realize that I'm good. My boss recently told me I don't have anything to prove to them. And I already have his respect and trust. It meant so much to hear that. Terrified at public speaking is usually the one I go with. It's fairly relatable but easy to brush off by saying I get past it through practice. It also has the benefit of being true. I usually approach it honestly. I'm super hard on myself to the point that it can be counterproductive. So I typically don't need a lot of coaching when I duck up, but I need to be reminded to move on. I worked with a company who loved that about me. Then 3 years into training they decided to switch gears into quantity over quality, and it's really ducked me up. Honest answer followed by how you're improving. I tend to procrastinate, but I keep that at bay by sticking to a to-do list, etc. My last job had very vague to-do lists. They were pretty much the same thing every shift. Stock X department. Check dates. Rotate stock. Fill balloon corral. Etc. So in an interview I just used that as an example for staying on task. Then they hit me with, well, how do you make sure you do things on your list? My dumbass was like, I'm not really sure what you're asking. Just do it. Me. I can be very vague. Interviewer. Care to elaborate? Me. Yeah. This might only be applicable to someone newly out of college or applying for entry-level jobs. But I had a professor tell me to say lack of experience. If you're applying for an intro-level job, it's expected. It's a weakness that's not really your fault. And you can spin it as a reason you should get the job. Actually, this could be applicable to every job that doesn't fit anything you did before. For example, as a programmer, I might have 5 years experience. But I never worked on framework X or with language Y. I'm terrible at interviews. Got me my job. I'm going to try that, but I feel like they'd say haha no, but seriously though. You're a genius. My answer to that question at the local ice cream parlor was my biggest weakness is chocolate. I got the job. And a free scoop of chocolate ice cream every day I worked there. My old roommate tried that for a desk job once. She said the interviewer gave her a blank stare. Quietly wrote something down. Then continued with the interview. She didn't get the job. The year is 2015 and I'm interviewing for my first job at an unnamed game studio. I'm super nervous. I did the pre-interview tests and they like them. And I get the question. I get really nervous and I talk a lot and ramble. It's pretty much word vomit until my brain catches up with my mouth, until I catch up with what I just said. And most of the time I can't really remember the question. It got a lot of laughs in the room, but I really couldn't remember at the time what the director just asked me. I sing in the shower. Sometimes I spend too much time volunteering. Occasionally I'll hit somebody with my car. Meanwhile you are fighting for the cure of the bat disease. Hand them a quality business card that says I over-prepare. That says you work at the place you're applying to. Interviewer. What is your greatest weakness? Me. Answering the semantics of a question while ignoring the pragmatics provided by the context. Interviewer. Interesting. Could you give me an example? Me. Yes. My usual go-to is that I have had difficulty with taking criticisms personally. Especially against me when in a leadership role. I then follow up with talking about how I'm working on it and feel I've improved as I've taken on roles with more responsibility. It is an annoying question. But if you can find something to talk about honestly, and also explain how you are working to improve it, you're golden. The back of my neck is extremely sensitive. If someone were to grab me by my neck and dig their nails in, I'd most likely pass out. Therefore making it easier for someone to steal items. Either my crippling alcoholism or penchant for theft. But I'm working on it, hick. The problem with kleptomaniacs is that they always take things literally. I'm too humble. Perhaps the most humble person on the planet. I too am extraordinarily humble. Well, I'd say my weakness is the cause of me getting fired from my last 8 jobs. I bring in too many turtles apparently. I don't know how many the right amount of turtles is because I've brought anywhere from 50 up to 300. It seems unreasonable to bring less than 50, so I just don't get it. I would be honest during my interview about how many turtles I plan to bring to work with me and let loose in the facility. But they never ask. What about you guys? How many turtles do you guys bring to not get fired? I typically bring only around 25, but every place is different. Wooden stakes to the heart. Not that I'm a vampire. I'm just pretty sure that would kill me. To be fair, not many things can survive a wooden stake to the heart. Poor penmanship and swearing too much are my go-tos. Hiring managers usually get a chuckle out of it. If you're applying for a position in a daycare center, the swearing can be ignored but not the poor penmanship. Weird. That's the opposite if you're a doctor. Thank you for your time. But I don't believe this is the right fit. Please delete my contact information. I was on an interview panel and one of the candidates said their biggest weakness was I always need to know why I'm doing what I'm doing. Being poor. But I'm working on improving that by getting this job. I don't let people walk over me, so I assume that's gonna be a problem for you guys. So I don't think you're fit for the job. Not letting you f***ers tell me if I'm fit for a job. I'll see you guys Monday. Priapism. People don't like to work alongside me. But I'm excellent at leading from the front and pointing the way forward. My last boss told me that I'm condescending and that it's a huge area I need to work on. That means I talk down to people. Arguing with my GF one time and she said I was being condescending and I said she doesn't even know what that word means. Just had an interview. Was honest. Remembering people's names. I think most people can relate to that. Too. And I mentioned that I have developed strategies to make sure it doesn't get in the way. Got the job offer. Honestly. Interviews. I've got a great work ethic. And am a petty quick learner, but my interview skills are pretty lacking. I usually say that I've been told I work too quickly, but I'm learning to strike a balance between working quickly and reducing errors. Your eyes and then I lean in for the kiss. I have a solid management background. I always tell them that I am bad at delegating. I prefer to do it myself so I know it gets done right and on time. That it is hard for me to trust other coworkers at first. That answer seems to work so far. I know it's an honest answer and I appreciate that. But it would be a red flag for me as an interviewer. Delegating is just such a huge part of being a good manager. Seat sniffing. Don't worry. It's not creepy. It's actually a huge compliment. I work too hard. I care too much. And sometimes I can be too invested in my job. Bullets. Both the gun kind and I use too many in PowerPoint presentations. I have very little patience for questions that are designed to force me to act in a way counter to my best interests. Well, you are so wonderful for listening. Hit like button and subscribe for more daily stories.